Hey, this is Will Buchanan, walking on the Walk for Liberty. Today is September 16th, 2008, day 139. I'm pushing myself today and trying something I don't normally do. As you can probably tell from the aspect ratio of this video, I'm not using my regular camera. And no, this is not my previous high-definition camera again, which I wasn't able to use due to the high processor requirements of editing the high-definition video. This is a Canon FS100 standard definition camera. So how is it that I'm pushing myself by using this camera? Well, I had actually gotten this camera a while ago, but when I first tried using it, discovered that it wasn't completely compatible with Microsoft Movie Maker, which is the program that John and I both have used to edit the videos. I did some research online, and it seemed I would be able to implement a solution which would allow us to be able to edit the camera video files directly in Windows Movie Maker without having to convert them first. However, with all the other things I have to do, I never seem to find the time to finish implementing the solution. So I continued to stay with the comfortable status quo of using my original camera, even though doing that ended up costing me much more time in the long run, due to the amount of time it takes to offload a video from my original camera, during which time I can't use my computer for anything else. It was really easy for me to stay with that status quo though, since at the end of a 20 or 21 mile walk, I'm not only physically, but also mentally tired. And all too simple for me to say to myself, oh, I'll just figure out the problems with the new camera tomorrow, and then just slide into the brainless and comfortable task of offloading the video from my old camera, rather than also expending the mental energy required to figure out the problems with the new one. Last night though, I decided that I had had enough of my shenanigans, and that I would use the new camera today, whether I was ready or not. So here I am today, using my new camera, without a complete solution in place for how to use the files from it. But I'm sure that come tonight, I'll be able to figure out a solution, since I'll have a direct incentive for doing so at that point. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video. So what have I learned from this experience? Actually, a couple things. One, if you found a better way to do something, which will end up saving you time in the long run, even though it takes some upfront time to begin implementing it, then it's best to bite the bullet and spend that upfront time as soon as you possibly can. I know, you have many demands vying for your attention, pulling you in different directions. But what's the worst that could happen if you let those slide for a few minutes while you stop to make your life more efficient in a particular area? Let's take the long view. Look 5 years or even 20 years down the road. Do you think 20 years down the road it will matter that 20 years back you put those things on hold for a few minutes? On the other hand though, think how much cumulative time you'll have saved over a 20-year period by having stopped for a few minutes to make your life more efficient 20 years back. Time which you could indeed then spend on whatever you had put on hold, which could have even been your significant other or your kids. Basically, just because something exterior to you is placing a demand upon you to do something, and even if it might seem a very urgent demand, such as somebody honking their horn or yelling at you to move in line, or even a phone ringing, doesn't mean you necessarily have to respond to that demand. You have the power to choose whether or not to respond, and if so, how and when. The second thing I've learned from my new camera experience is that if you seem to be stuck in the planning stages for something, then set a fail-safe date on which you will start doing it no matter what, whether you think you're ready or not. Isn't it better to start working on it than to endlessly be planning it? And plus there are difficulties which, no matter how hard you try, you can't foresee in the planning stage. The simple act of getting started on it will give you the highest possible incentive to figure out any remaining problems as quickly as possible. In my case, with my camera, if I hadn't decided to do this, then it might have taken me another month to start using it. But instead, I decided to just jump right in, and now I'm actually using it, and I'm loving it so far. And there's no question that now I'll get the remaining issues solved tonight. So, if you're stuck, stop planning and start doing. I walked just over 20 miles. And here's my GPS position. This is Will Buchanan for Amazon.walkforliberty.com, signing off.
Okay, just a minute. Let me check under your tongue again.
Poor Jake got in some cactus today, so we're having to take it out of his paws and his mouth.